Hi, everybody. It's Eagles Cowboys week. It is time for a special presentation. The great debate, Birds versus the Boys. I'm Dave Bontempo. I will be the moderator. We're happy to have Matt Boecker from How About Them in Texas, and Pete Amato representing the Eagles, Eagles.com, and all of Pete's credentials. Also, my partner on Why Eagles Why. We ask you to hit like and subscribe, not only for this, but for other Why Eagles Why videos to be notified about future videos. For this special competition, we're going to break this into 5 categories. Matt and Pete will debate based on what they see. Best offense, best defense, the best GOAT, the best fans, and finally, the prediction of the game. So I'd like to, before we get to the competition, Matt, welcome in. How do you feel about joining in this debate with Pete and being part of Eagles Cowboys week?
I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. It's a pleasure to be here with both you guys. Kind of like the Cowboys this week. I feel like I'm on, road turf right now. It's an away game for me. I know this is going on in Why Eagles Why. So just like the Cowboys, they're going to overcome it on the road this week, and I feel the same way. But excited to be here.
Pete, Matt is trying to overcome jet lag in coming on the road here. And how do you feel about defending your home turf here?
It's just another game for me. I mean, this is going to be easy. I mean, it's going against Cowboys. I mean, I'm not even worried about the Cowboys. I'm not worried about anything the Cowboys do. I'm not worried about their fans, the writers.
It's been one of the great rivalries because they put names on the games. Pork Chop Bowl, Bounty Bowl 1, Bounty Bowl 2. Then you have all types of things being rubbed in. And even in recent years, Drew Pearson at the NFL draft reminding Eagles fans that Jerry Jones was part of a 5-time Super Bowl championship run for the Cowboys. And then in 2018, David Akers, right after the Eagles won the Super Bowl, telling the Dallas players, the last time you were in the Super Bowl, which is 1996, these draft kicks had not even been born yet. So it's always been a great debate. We're happy to continue it here. Okay, we start round 1, point number 1, and Matt, you are first up. Which team has the best offense? Go, Matt.
I think the Cowboys have the best offense. If Dak Prescott's starting, that goes even further. But this week we have Cooper Rush. For one more week, we'll be treated to the Red Rifle under the bright lights on Sunday night. That's fine, though, because the Cowboys, they still have a lot of offensive weapons. They have Tony Pollard. He's always a threat to score a touchdown with the ball in his hands. He's got 6 explosive plays over 10 yards on the season. So anytime the ball's in his hands, he could house it for a touchdown. Zeke Elliott, admittedly, he has slowed down a little bit this year, but he's still really good in short yardage situations. If you're on 4th and 1, you're on the goal line, have to fall forward for a yard, score a touchdown. He's your guy. He's really good in pass protection as well. CeeDee Lamb, people were kind of questioning his wide receiver 1 abilities going into the year. I think he's proven to be a solid wide receiver 1. He's gotten better as the season's gone on, as he's worked with Cooper Rush. Him and Noah Brown. Noah Brown's been a kind of bright spot out of nowhere. No one really saw coming. And then lastly, Michael Gallup. He's a savvy veteran, been with the team for a few years now. I think the trio of Gallup, Brown, and Lamb, they pose a threat against the Eagles this week. They're reliable, late game situations, things like that. They've been there. They've done it before. The last thing I want to bring up is that the Cowboys are excellent at avoiding turnovers. So 1 interception on the season from the Cowboys with Dak Prescott in week 1, and then 1 fumble loss by Dalton Schultz also in week 1. In the last 4 weeks, they haven't had any turnovers, so they're also really good at avoiding those mistakes that, you throw in an interception, give the opposing team a short field to work with. Overall, I think that each piece on the offense really complements each other well. And, I think overall the Cowboys definitely have a better offense than the Eagles.
All right, Pete, the visitor has jumped off the plane. He made a good presentation in his first outing. What about the Eagles' offense?
He made a good presentation, but I mean, you can only you can only make something look so good. I mean, you stomp on cockroaches. You really can't make that look that great over and over. But this one's easy. I mean, obviously the Eagles have the best offense. It's not just my word. Let's look at the numbers. The Eagles are second in total yards with 2,100. They're fifth in points scored with about a 135. Cowboys. Let's look at the Cowboys. They're 27th, 28th in total yards, and I think they're around 24th or 25th in points scored. And I don't even think they scored over 100 points yet total. I mean, it's been 5 weeks. If this offense is so potent, what are they waiting for? I mean, you're really waiting for Dak Prescott? Cooper Rush has outplayed Dak Prescott, and Cooper Rush is total trash. So, I mean, you don't really have much to look forward to. I think you guys are kind of in your heyday right now. You guys are kind of overperforming, which good for the Cowboys, but it's gonna come to a close really quick. But for the Eagles, they're performing well, but I think they can perform better. They added A.J. Brown. There's superstars that are not only thriving on this team, the team's getting younger. You look at the Cowboys, you have CeeDee Lamb, who just can't seem to put it together. He has a good flash of good here. They got rid of their best wide receiver. And then you have Zeke Elliott, who, I don't know, he's probably like 55 years old right now. That's what it looks like when he runs. I mean, the guy shouldn't even be out there anymore. So they're not only a worse offense than the Eagles, they're progressively getting old and even worse. And you look at quarterback. You got Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott / Cooper Rush. I mean, I really don't care who they play. Jalen Hurts, say what you want about him, but he's just getting started. I mean, he's got the higher lows, is what they would say, a good stock. He just keeps going up and up. I could keep going on and on, but I don't want to waste everybody's time because we all know who the better offense is.
Well, I'll tell you what, people are trying to phone in some votes, so we're not letting them do it. This gets decided right here. You both did an excellent job, and Matt, you gave a good enough argument to nearly steal it, but Pete, you defended your turf. You both made good points. Point one to Pete on the offense. Good job by both of you. Now, we go to the defense. And Pete, as we flip the home field edge, you go first on the defense, and then Matt, you get the last word on this one. Go ahead, Pete, in round two.
Again, Eagles have a better defense. The Cowboys are supposed to have the better defense this year. Howie did a great job of bringing these superstars in and making it work. I mean, a lot of teams can bring superstars in. You look at the defensive back on the other side with the star on his helmet. I mean, I've never seen a guy who's supposed to be a shutdown corner get burned by wide receivers every game. And the Eagles' defense is better because they're set for the future. Create turnovers. They have 2 shutdown corners that can go against anybody, and their defensive line. The only weakness, I will give it a weakness with the Eagles' defense, and if you watch Why Eagles Why, you see this. I'm not a Jonathan Gannon fan at all. But despite Jonathan Gannon, we're still winning. We're 5-0. I mean, I feel like they have much more potential, and I think they're much more dominant when they're on.
All right, Matt, the Cowboys, with their backs to the wall, they went to their defense, and now you've got to go to the Cowboys defense to try to make your point here in round two. Go ahead.
Well, Dallas, they call Dallas Big D. It used to stand for, not Dallas, obviously, but Big D stands for defense now because their defense is just insane this year. It could also stand for Dan Quinn. He's the best defensive coordinator in the NFL. He's almost a guarantee this offseason to get a starting job somewhere else. So they have to make the most with what they have right now while he's with the team. I know last round Pete brought up some stats, so I have a few stats of my own for this round. The Cowboys allow an average of 14 points per game, while the Eagles are allowing 17 points per game. Both really good defenses, don't get me wrong, but 14 is less than 17 last time I checked, so I'll give the Cowboys the edge just in that regard. In all 5 games, through 5 games this year, no team has scored more than 1 touchdown against the Cowboys in a given game, which is an insane stat. Basically, it have to be perfect offensively to beat this Cowboys team, which, they're 4-1. So first game, obviously, offense didn't play well, but defense has picked it up the last 4 games, and they've won pretty much every game for the Cowboys in this winning streak. Who's leading the charge for the Cowboys defense? The guy named Micah Parsons. Pete might have heard of him before.
Nah, I haven't heard of him. He wasn't talked about on SportsCenter for 50 straight hours the other day.
You'll get to know him on Sunday night, Pete. Don't worry. He's the odds-on favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year. He's got six sacks, which is tied for the most in the NFL. Not to mention last week in the second half, he had a groin injury, so he only played on third downs, still scored 2 sacks and a strip sack on Matthew Stafford against the Rams. And then the secondary, you got Trayvon Diggs, which last season, admittedly, he had a lot of interceptions, but he was also very poor in pass coverage. He allowed over 1,000 yards in coverage. He's actually been playing a lot better this year. He's been more of a lockdown corner. He's been covering the other team's best receiver on a weekly basis. He only has 2 interceptions on the year, which is still good. Not on the same trajectory from last season in terms of interceptions, but his abilities in coverage have grown tremendously from last year. Lastly, just a quick snippet just to kind of dissect from last week's Rams game. So the Rams open up, they get the ball first. On the first drive of the game, Dorrance Armstrong gets a strip sack on Matthew Stafford. DeMarcus Lawrence comes in, scoops and scores for 6. They missed the PAT, but they're still up 6-0. Next drive, the Cowboys, force a punt. Dorrance Armstrong again bursts through the offensive line. He blocks the punt, and the Cowboys get the ball in scoring position. They didn't convert a touchdown, but they got a field goal. So essentially, the defense spotted the offense 9 points before Cooper Rush and company even took the field. This defense has just been remarkable this year. It's been a joy to watch them every week. And I'm excited to see what they do on Sunday night, and I think that far and away they're the better defense compared to the Eagles.
All right, Matt, it was your point to lose. You did not lose it. You did a good job defending those Cowboys and bringing up a lot of good points with that. And we cannot wait for this game to see how the very good defenses are going to show up. The Dallas defense, by the way, being compared to that doomsday defense back in the 70s. And this Cowboys defense has not allowed any opponent over 20 points yet in 5 games. Will that change against the Eagles? We're 1-1. Matt and Pete are revving it up, and they hit the next part. Round 3. Who's got the best GOAT? I got your GOAT. Okay, Matt, based on our revolving strategy, you get the first shot in round 3.
You have to go Emmitt Smith for the Cowboys. Not only is he the best, the best GOAT for the Cowboys, better GOAT than any Eagles player. He could be the greatest of all time in football history. The guy's the NFL's all-time leading rusher. He's second all-time in touchdowns behind only Jerry Rice. He also has 3 Super Bowl rings. So, the guy is one of the best to ever do it, one of the best we'll ever see. One of the more impressive underrated stats is that his durability was just crazy. In 15 seasons, he only missed 11 games. So, especially back then compared to now how much usage running backs were getting back then in his day compared to what they're getting now. The fact he only missed 11 games in 15 years is just crazy. So he's got the rings. He's got the rushing record. He's second all-time in touchdowns. I don't think there's any more that needs to be said. I'll keep it nice and brief. Emmitt Smith, far and away. No question about it.
All right, Pete, your GOAT.
Of course, you're going to pick an offensive player. It's so easy for you to pick an offensive player, right? The real blood, sweat, and tears of a GOAT should be on the defensive side. And I'm going to go with the greatest safety of all time, B-Doc. B-Doc was an absolute monster. He scared the league. He was one of the main reasons that people were afraid to go through the middle. He was the first one to take out players who tried to go up the middle. Algie Crumpler. I don't even think we ever saw him again after that game. Let's see here. He has 1,150 tackles, 37 interceptions, 36 forced fumbles for a safety, 26 sacks, again, a safety, 19 fumble recoveries, and 4 touchdowns. He was a 4-time first-team All-Pro, 9 Pro Bowls, 2000 All-Decade Team, blah, 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 blah. And, of course, Hall of Famer. It's not just his credentials, but it's the guy's attitude, what he brought to the game. You can be the greatest of all time on paper, but who really cares about Emmitt Smith as far as just scoring a few touchdowns? Brian Dawkins was like an epitome of a tough, hard-nosed defense, and people still talk about Brian Dawkins way more than they talk about Emmitt Smith. The only people that talk about Emmitt Smith are Dallas fans, because we know, he has the most yards, but that's because he played 10 years over the hill. It's like Cal Ripken of football over here. So, I'm going to go with a defensive player. I'm going to keep it short and sweet too. Philadelphia is a hard-nosed fan base. and we love hard-nosed defensive players. We love the sweat, the blood, the tears that the defensive players give to our city, and there was nobody else like Brian Dawkins.
All right, good arguments presented by both, and you have to like Pete's willingness to go against the grain and go with a defensive player in a big category like this. But Matt, I agree with you. The rings are the thing, and Emmitt Smith was part of a big Cowboys machine. Well done by both. It was close, but the point to Matt makes it 2-1 for the visitor as we now get to point number 4, the greatest fans. Now, Pete, you're up against it a little because you have to go first in this segment. It's about the fans, and you need to even the score or Matt wins it. So go ahead, Pete. The greatest fans. Why?
This category was made for Eagles fans. I mean, this is Philadelphia fans are known worldwide as the most passionate, most mean, most intimidating, most intelligent fan base in sports. I mean, even players from other teams, like players, former Cowboys players, former Giants players, former New York Mets, that they still can't stop talking about Philadelphia fans, the Philadelphia fan base. Not only do we lift up our team when we play, we also smash the other team down. Yes, we'll say, you'll see maybe 12-year-olds cursing at the game, 85-year-olds throwing batteries at JD Drew. It doesn't matter because we want to win, but it all comes down to the love we have for our team. People say we're annoying and blah, blah, blah. No, we just want everybody to know that we're Eagles fans because we're proud of it. And one of the main reasons that we are the best fans, we don't care what other people think. We really don't. We kind of we accept it. I feel like a lot of Eagles fans hold it as a trophy because people look at us. Oh, Eagles fans they're insane. They're crazy. They're out of their minds. Yeah, we are because we really enjoy watching our sports. We really enjoy the teams that are out there, and we don't need to wave any silly towels. We don't have to dress up like pirates. We don't even have to give ourselves the nickname of America's team. I mean, we just bring it every game. We bring it every year, no matter if we're an awful team, which we've seen many, many awful Eagles teams over the past years, or whether we're a Super Bowl team. We always bring it up to 100%, no matter what. We're always sold out. That's really not what I can say for the Cowboys, who haven't won anything significant in about 25, 26 years. And this is the reason we call Cowboys fans cockroaches. And that's an actual pretty legitimate name for them because they only come out when they win a few games. So the Cowboys cockroaches are starting to come out now because they're 4-1, and then everybody's like, oh, Cooper Rush. I mean, Cowboys fans won't tell you they're a Cowboys fan if their team's losing. We could go 0-16, and guess what? We're Eagles fans and we're proud of it. Our team stinks, but who cares? So it doesn't matter if our team stinks because we're always proud of our city.
Well, the formation of Why Eagles Why did happen after a 4-11-1 season. And this week, you would think that from Pete, the cockroaches were invented in Dallas because we've heard that on a few references.
I think they were.
Okay, Matt, what about the Dallas fan base?
I mean, I disagree with Pete. He said the Cowboys fans, when things get tough, they tend to, go into the shadows. I wholeheartedly disagree. I'll get to that later on. But the reason why Cowboys fans are better than Eagles fans, I could get into, assaulting Santa Claus. I could get into cheering when Michael Irvin got injured. I could even, mention the quote from earlier this week. Jason Peters had a quote where he called Eagles fans idiots. I could mention any of that stuff, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to focus on the Cowboys. I'm just going to focus on the Cowboys fans. So the reason the Cowboys are the better fan base is because they always show up for their team, whether they're doing well, 4-1 this year, whether they're sucking, they'll always be there. Just last week, Rams coach Sean McVay had a quote. He said that during practice, they were actually practicing using a silent count on their on the offensive side because they were game planning for a loud defense or for a loud Dallas, contingent in the crowd. But let me remind you, they were playing in Los Angeles, so even on the road, teams have to go with silent counts. Teams have to game plan around the Cowboys fans.
It's Los Angeles.
They constantly take over road stadiums, and opposing offenses have to game plan against that as if they're playing on the road. So to get back to Pete's point about Cowboys fans not showing up, if they don't show up, then why have they ranked first in attendance for the last 14 years? The last time that a team outranked them in attendance was in 2008. So I feel like that fact alone shows that Cowboys fans, they do show up for their team. Just like the Eagles, Cowboys haven't had good years for the past 15 years, or for the past X amount of years, but they keep showing up. They flood the stadium week in, week out. And I just think that kind of loyalty is hard to find these days, and I think that makes them a better fan base than the Eagles.
Boy, what a good, close competition that was. Pete's passion and Matt bringing up the numbers, almost stole it with the numbers. But Pete, the passion of Pete in this particular point, Pete, this one has to go to you for defending the Eagles fans and also how the cockroaches came about. So
scary. They're going to scare away after this win this week. They're going to go, oh no, let's go back. No.
You guys have each made some big hits, and now it is 2-2, and we're going to let the action on the field decide this competition, because you guys each on a given day could win. You guys have covered your bases very well. So now we get to the game. Your prediction on the game. We will make this one just about the game result. Okay. So Pete.
I mean, they probably are going to need the points anyway.
Pete, you went first last time. So Matt, we'll give you the next one, and then Pete the last word on this. Okay, Matt. Money line. Defend the boys and your position.
Yeah. So as we mentioned, the Cowboys, they're huge underdogs this week, 6.5-point dogs. And back in 2017, when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, they embraced that underdog tag. The Cowboys, almost every game this year, they've been, constantly disrespected by the odds makers in Vegas. They were 5.5-point dogs last week. They won outright. They're 6.5-point dogs this week. I think they're going to win outright again. So, based off that, I think that what Philly should do is they should dig up those old dusty masks they used, those dog masks during 2017 in the playoff run that they would wear after wins. They should ship them over to Dallas, because now Dallas has that title. Philly is 5-0. A lot of people have already basically penciled them in for the Super Bowl between them and either the Chiefs or the Bills on the AFC side. And I think that it's a little bit of unknown territory for them. They're not used to being the 5-0, the undefeated team, the consummate favorites to take the Super Bowl. Meanwhile, Dallas, they're normally a favorite. Obviously, just the media loves talking about them.
In 1993.
And anyways, I'm still going here. I think that's kind of flipped. I think that now Dallas, they've had quotes, they've asked players about it, and they've all kind of shrugged off the whole, we're underdogs, we don't pay attention to that. But I think they do. I think deep down, players look for anything they can to kind of motivate themselves. And I think they're definitely seeing these disrespectful lines, 5.5 points last week, 6 and almost a full touchdown this week. And one other thing, I think it's actually good that the Eagles won last week against a tight game against the Cardinals, because I think had they lost this week, it's okay. We're under the lights. It's prime time. It's a get right game. We need to get control again. Maintain the division here. So I think they'll actually come out a little bit slow. I have the Cowboys winning 17-13 this week, and we might even see, who knows, maybe Cooper Rush will jog off the field wearing one of those old dusty dog masks that the Eagles players used to wear. He'll probably get showered with beer and taunts and stuff on the way out, but I think he'll be running off wearing that mask.
All right. How about you, Pete? How do you
see needs to put a mask on? Yeah, well, you're right. The underdog thing, it does. Anytime somebody's an underdog, it gives them a little bit of a boost. I feel like they have less pressure on them when they're an underdog. But you also have to have more talent, and that 2017 had a lot of talent. The Cowboys, they have a few little guys here and there. I mean, Micah Parsons is really only player on that team that I think has the talent to kind of lead a team to beat somebody. But the Cowboys, the way they play on defense, falls right into our hand. Our defensive backs really don't have much to worry about. I mean, we've shut down the top two receivers in the league, arguably. I mean, Jefferson maybe had two catches. I don't even remember. So I'm not worried about the Cowboys' offense at all. I'm really not. I only think their defense does look good this year, but they were supposed to look good. Micah Parsons is the real deal. But one guy is not going to win it for him. It's just not going to happen. On Why Eagles Why, when we recorded it, I I originally thought it was going to be a closer game. I thought the Eagles were going to have to use their run game a lot. And the more I looked at the numbers and the more I looked about how the Cowboys were beating other teams and stuff, I really think this is going to be an easier game than I originally thought. And I'm not just saying that because I hate the Cowboys. I think the Eagles are going to have this win easily. Yes, they're coming off of a win, but it was an ugly win. And the last time they came off an ugly win, they totally dominated the next team. And I think this is a get-right game for them. Even though it was a win last week, I think the Eagles are that good, and they should play way better than they did last week. So I think this is a get-right game. And it's home field advantage. I mean, Philadelphia is the only city that players are scared to play at. The only city. You can say that in Kansas City it's loud, or the 12th man over here, but literally players have said they're scared to play in front of Philadelphia fans. If that doesn't mess with somebody mentally, I don't know really what does. So I'm thinking, like I said, I think the Eagles I really do think the Eagles are going to have an easy day. I think Micah Parsons is going to get his, but we have an offensive line that the Cowboys haven't seen yet this year. The Cowboys haven't seen. I mean, if Milad is playing, it's game over. So I think it's going to be like I'm going to say 33-17 Eagles. I think I really do think it's going to be an easy game, and I think it's going to show you the class of the NFC East.
Well, it is a great matchup. It is a great matchup because either the two teams featured most often on Sunday Night Football, because the network executives know this is a great rivalry in prime time. We have to pay the Cowboys a lot of kudos before the game just for their season not crumbling when Dak Prescott went out and the media left them for dead. So now the question is whether the Eagles force Cooper Rush into a mistake or whether the Cowboys could shut down the Eagles. I think it's a fascinating game, and you guys have done an excellent job laying it out and defending your turf. It's 2-2 on the field. Cowboys win, Matt wins. Eagles win, Pete wins. And that will be the culmination of this great sports debate. Thanks for joining us. For Matt Boecker, for Pete Amato, this is Dave Bontempo saying thank you for being with us. Please hit like and subscribe to be notified about future videos coming your way.